My chosen one, pause everything for a moment, because what you are about to hear is not ordinary. This is not coincidence. This is not random timing. This is divine interruption. God is trying to reach you urgently. If you ignore this warning, your breakthrough goes to someone else. Open this immediately by 11:57 p.m. before it's too late. Don't skip it. There are moments in life when heaven leans close to earth, when eternity whispers into time, when your name is spoken in places you cannot see. And this is one of those moments. You were not scrolling by accident. You were not searching without guidance. Something in your spirit felt restless today. Something felt different. And now you know why. Because there is a breakthrough with your name written on it. But listen carefully. Breakthroughs are not permanent reservations. They are divine assignments. And when heaven prepares a table, it does not stay untouched forever. If the invited one does not show up, another is called forward. Yes, that is why this message is urgent. There is a door that has been forming in the spirit realm. A door connected to your prayers. A door connected to the tears you cried in silence. A door connected to nights when you felt forgotten. But heaven did not forget. And right now, the clock is moving. 11:57 p.m. is not random. It represents the final 3 minutes before midnight. It represents the space between what was and what is about to be. It represents transition. Midnight in Scripture has always been a turning point. Chains break at midnight. Answers come at midnight. Shifts happen at midnight. But what most people do not understand is this. Midnight blessings require midnight attention. If you ignore the nudge, if you silence the whisper, if you say, "I will check later," later may not carry the same oil. God has been signaling you in small ways, through conversations, through dreams, through sudden thoughts that felt too strong to dismiss. And today, the urgency increased. There is someone else praying for the same position you desire. Someone else asking for the same opportunity. Someone else believing for the same open door. And heaven is watching for responsiveness. This is not about competition. This is about readiness. Are you ready when God calls? Because many ask for breakthrough, but few recognize it when it knocks. And here is the deeper truth. Your delay has already cost you before. Think back. How many times did you feel prompted to act, but fear whispered louder? How many times did you sense a shift coming, but doubt convinced you to wait? How many divine appointments did you miss because you thought you had more time? This time is different. There is a spiritual urgency surrounding your house, not your physical walls, but your spiritual atmosphere. Something has been hovering around your life. A transition. A revelation. A change that will expose what has been hidden and elevate what has been faithful. And this is where it becomes serious. If you ignore this warning, your breakthrough does not disappear, it gets reassigned. Heaven wastes nothing. Opportunities that are delayed too long are redirected to those who respond quickly. Favor flows toward movement. Grace meets obedience halfway. Right now, the Spirit is checking your responsiveness. Will you open the message? Will you pay attention? Will you prepare your heart before 11:57 p.m.? Because something shifts at midnight. And let me reveal something you have not considered. The enemy is aware of your timing too. Distractions increase when destiny is near. Sudden tiredness appears. Random arguments arise. Unexpected delays show up. Why? Because if you miss the moment, the opposition does not have to fight the breakthrough. It only has to delay your response. That is why you felt resistance even clicking on this video. but you are still here. And that tells me something powerful. Deep inside, your spirit recognizes divine urgency. You have been asking for confirmation. You have been asking for a sign. You have been asking God to make it clear. Clarity just arrived. This is not about fear. This is about alignment. There is a window open right now. A window of acceleration. A window where what took years can shift in days. But windows close when ignored. Do not assume there will be another reminder. Do not assume the stirring will return with the same intensity. Divine moments are fragile. They require awareness. And tonight, before 11:57 p.m., something in your life demands your attention. Prayer demands your focus. Obedience demands your courage. Preparation demands your action. Because the breakthrough is closer than you think. Closer than your doubt. Closer than your fear. Closer than your excuses. Heaven is not playing games with you. God is trying to reach you urgently. And if you ignore this warning, your breakthrough goes to someone else. The question is not whether heaven is ready. The question is, are you? Beloved soul, something is shifting even as you continue listening. The urgency you felt a moment ago was not emotional pressure. It was spiritual timing. When God calls urgently, it is not to scare you. It is to position you. And right now, positioning is everything. You may be wondering, what exactly am I supposed to open before 11:57 p.m.? Hear this clearly. It is not just a physical action. It is a spiritual awakening. God is asking you to open your heart, open your focus, open your obedience. Because breakthrough does not enter a closed spirit. There is a divine exchange scheduled in your life. Heaven has prepared an answer, but answers require alignment. If your attention is scattered, if your faith is distracted, if your obedience is delayed, the exchange cannot complete itself. That is why the timing matters. 11:57 p.m. represents those last conscious moments before a day ends. It represents decision. It represents choice. It represents whether you will end the day the same way you started it, or whether you will step into a new spiritual dimension. Right now, God is measuring something within you. Not your perfection, not your performance, but your responsiveness. Are you alert when He nudges? Are you attentive when He whispers? Are you willing to pause when He interrupts? Many people pray for open doors, but they are asleep when the doorbell rings. Do not let that be you. There is a breakthrough hovering so close to your reality that even the atmosphere around you feels different. You may have sensed unusual emotions today. Maybe you felt restless. Maybe you felt expectation without knowing why. That is because your spirit knows something your mind has not fully processed yet. A transition is forming. And here is the deeper layer. Breakthrough is not only about gain. It is also about exposure. When God moves you forward, He also reveals what cannot go with you. There may be a person in your life whose true intentions are about to be uncovered. There may be a hidden truth connected to your home, your environment, or your circle. When light increases, shadows cannot hide. That is why ignoring this message carries weight. It is not about superstition. It is about spiritual sensitivity. Imagine standing at the edge of a doorway that leads to answered prayers. Now imagine hesitating long enough for someone else to step through. That is what delay does. It transfers opportunity. Heaven is not limited, but assignments are time-bound. And this is why your focus tonight matters. Before 11:57 p.m., take intentional time. Pray with clarity. Speak with authority. Declare alignment over your house. Invite God into every hidden corner of your life. When you do that, you are not just reacting to a warning. You are responding to a divine invitation. Let me say something directly to you. If this message is stirring your spirit, do not keep it to yourself. Jared, there is someone in your circle who is seconds away from missing their moment. When you share, you become part of someone else's breakthrough. When you like this message, you push it into spaces where it can wake up another soul. When you comment, you seal your agreement in the spiritual realm. When you subscribe and stand with this channel, you are declaring that you choose alignment over distraction. Join this movement fully. Become part of this family. Help this word reach those who need it urgently. Because this is not just a video. This is a divine alert. And I need you to understand something else. The enemy's greatest strategy is delay. Not destruction. Delay. If he can convince you to wait, to scroll, to postpone prayer, to say I will handle it tomorrow, he wins time. And time is powerful when misused. But tonight, you will not surrender time. You will redeem it. You will use the final minutes before midnight as sacred ground. You will refuse to let distractions steal destiny. You will silence doubt. You will reject hesitation. And you will stand spiritually awake. There is something powerful coming next. Something that will make the urgency even clearer and reveal why this specific timing is connected to your house and your future. Hold on, because what you are about to understand will change how you see this entire moment. Faithful one, lean in carefully because what is about to be revealed connects directly to your house, your atmosphere, and the timing of this warning. This is not just about personal success. This is about spiritual territory. There has been activity around your dwelling that you have sensed but not fully understood. Subtle tension. Strange heaviness. Moments when peace felt interrupted for no visible reason. You brushed it off as stress. You blamed routine. But in the unseen realm, something has been shifting. When breakthrough approaches, exposure follows. God does not elevate you without first cleansing what surrounds you. And there is a truth that must surface before you cross into your next season. The urgency attached to 11:57 p.m. is not about panic. It is about preparation. Heaven is drawing a line between what stays and what leaves. There may be a woman connected to your environment whose intentions are not aligned with your destiny. This is not about hatred or revenge. This is about revelation. When God is ready to release acceleration into your life, He removes hidden resistance. Sometimes that resistance comes disguised as support. Sometimes it smiles while quietly competing. Sometimes it stands close while secretly doubting. And very soon, what has been concealed will be exposed. You will not need to force it. You will not need to argue. You will not need to investigate. Truth carries its own light. When God decides it is time, masks fall naturally. This is why the message is urgent. If you step into your breakthrough without awareness, you risk bringing hidden opposition with you. And God loves you too much to allow that. Think about the recent signs. Conversations that felt slightly off. Compliments that carried strange energy. Advice that subtly discouraged your progress. These were not random. Your spirit detected what your mind tried to rationalize. Tonight, before 11:57 p.m., pray over your home. Walk through each room if you can. Speak peace into the walls. Declare truth in every corner. Ask God to reveal anything that does not belong in your next chapter. When you do this, you are not acting in fear. You are acting in authority. Because your house is more than a building. It is a spiritual gate. What enters your house enters your life. What influences your environment influences your decisions. And here is the powerful part. The exposure that is coming will not harm you. It will protect you. It will clarify relationships. It will strengthen your discernment. It will prove that God was guarding you even when you were unaware. But remember this. Breakthrough waits for alignment. If you ignore this stirring, if you silence this call to prayer, the momentum shifts. Not because God is cruel, but because readiness determines release. Heaven does not force blessings onto distracted hearts. Right now, there is movement in the spiritual realm connected to your name. Doors are being reviewed. Opportunities are being prepared. Conversations are being arranged behind scenes you cannot see. But timing is attached to obedience. You are closer than you realize. The fact that this message found you before midnight is not coincidence. It is confirmation. And there is something sacred about acting before the clock resets. When you respond before 11:57 p.m., you are symbolically saying, I will not carry delay into my next day. I will not bring old hesitation into a new hour. That decision matters more than you think. The woman who will be exposed is not your enemy. She is simply part of a chapter that cannot continue into your next level. And when truth surfaces, do not respond with anger. Respond with clarity. Respond with peace. Exposure is not destruction. It is separation for protection. Your breakthrough requires clean ground. And tonight, heaven is cleaning ground around you. Do you feel the weight of this moment? That seriousness in your chest? The awareness that something real is unfolding? That is not imagination. That is spiritual recognition. Receive this deeply. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not late. You are being positioned. Type I am ready for revelation in the comments if this is speaking directly to your spirit. Blessing code 3939 is now activated over your house and your next season. And as this revelation settles in your heart, understand that spreading this light matters. When you release support through Super Thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding a channel. You are sowing into souls who are standing at their own 11:57 p.m. moment. The word says that when you sow beside still waters, your seed becomes a river that never runs dry. God declares over you that those who give in faith will reap an acceleration. When you act, you become a co-laborer in awakening homes and protecting destinies. I am asking you to stand in this mission with boldness. Let your giving be a prophetic act that says, I will not let this warning fade. As you give, may oil flow over your house, may light expand in your rooms, and may hidden resistance dissolve. Step into obedience now. Activate your support. Become a vessel that carries this urgent call to others. Now prepare yourself, because what is coming next will reveal why the clock was set so precisely for you. Chosen vessel, the precision of 11:57 p.m. is not random. And now you must understand why the clock itself became part of this warning. There are moments in life where heaven marks time differently than humans do. While you see hours and minutes, God sees windows and thresholds. And 11:57 p.m. is a threshold moment for you. 3 minutes before midnight is a space of decision. It is the final opportunity to act before a day closes permanently. Once midnight strikes, what was possible in that day belongs to yesterday. And spiritually, this represents something deeper. There are blessings attached to seasons, and seasons do not wait forever. You have been in a preparation season longer than you realize. There were delays that frustrated you. There were doors that did not open when you knocked. There were answers that felt postponed, but what you interpreted as denial was actually development. God was strengthening your discernment. He was sharpening your awareness. He was training your spirit to respond faster. Now the training meets the test. Will you respond when urgency comes? There is something powerful about responding before the final minute. It demonstrates trust. It demonstrates readiness. It shows heaven that you are not casual about divine timing. And heaven rewards seriousness. Some people will hear this and shrug it off. They will say it is dramatic. They will say they have more time. They will postpone prayer. They will assume tomorrow is guaranteed. But you are not like them. You feel the weight of this message because something inside you knows that delay has cost you before. Think about the opportunities you sensed but hesitated on. The conversations you were supposed to initiate. The steps you almost took but pulled back from. Each time, fear whispered, "Wait." And waiting slowly became a habit. But tonight, that habit breaks. There is a spiritual acceleration attached to obedience. When you move quickly in faith, heaven moves quickly in response. It is like unlocking a sequence. One step triggers another. One prayer activates another. One act of alignment shifts the atmosphere. This is why you felt resistance earlier today. Distraction trying to occupy your focus. Small inconveniences attempted to drain your energy. The enemy's strategy was simple. Make you too tired to care. Make you too busy to respond. Wake you too doubtful to act. Because if you miss the moment, the breakthrough shifts lanes. But you did not miss it. You're still here, listening carefully, feeling the intensity of what is unfolding. That is proof that your spirit refuses to sleep through destiny. Now let me speak directly to the fear that may be rising in you. This is not about losing something to someone else out of cruelty. God is not competing people against each other. What shifts is assignment, not love. Heaven's resources are unlimited, but opportunities are time-sensitive. When someone hesitates, someone else who is ready steps forward. You are being given the chance to declare readiness. Before 11:57 p.m., do something intentional. Silence your environment. Turn off distractions. Speak gratitude for what is coming, even if you have not seen it yet. Thank God for exposure where exposure is needed. Thank Him for alignment where correction is necessary. Thank Him for speed where delay once ruled. When you act before the final minute, you symbolically close the door on procrastination. You step into midnight carrying authority instead of regret. And there is another layer to this timing. 3 minutes represent confirmation. In Scripture, repetition establishes certainty. When something happens 3 times, it is sealed. These final 3 minutes are a seal over your decision. If you respond, the seal is breakthrough. If you ignore, the seal is postponement. You have more influence in this moment than you realize. Heaven is not forcing you. It is inviting you. And as you prepare for this shift, remember what was revealed earlier. Exposure is coming to clear your ground. Do not resist it. When truth surfaces, embrace it. When clarity rhymes, accept it. When separation becomes necessary, trust it. Because your next level cannot be crowded with hidden resistance. Right now, there is a stirring around your name in places you cannot see. Conversations are aligning. Favor is positioning. Doors are being evaluated. And your responsiveness tonight determines the speed of manifestation. The clock is moving, but do not panic. Instead, focus. Instead, align. Instead, act with calm authority. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are standing at the edge of a turning point, and what happens before midnight will echo into your tomorrow. Precious soul, there is something even deeper unfolding beneath this urgency, and you must see it clearly. The warning was never meant to create fear inside you. It was meant to awaken authority within you. Because the truth is, breakthrough does not belong to the passive, and belongs to the prepared. For a long time, you have been waiting for a visible sign, something obvious, something undeniable. But God often speaks in moments that test your sensitivity rather than your logic. This 11:57 p.m. instruction is not about superstition. It is about sharpening your obedience. There are people who only move when circumstances force them. But there are others who move when they sense the whisper. You are being called into the second group. You have entered a season where delayed obedience will feel heavier than immediate action. That uncomfortable stirring you feel right now is not anxiety. It is divine prompting. It is the Spirit signaling that your next level is within reach, but it requires intentional response. Let me speak plainly. There has been spiritual traffic around your destiny. Not blockage, but traffic. Competing voices. Competing influences. Competing suggestions about what you should do next. And in that noise, clarity became clouded. But urgency clears noise. When time feels limited, focus sharpens. When a deadline approaches, distractions lose power. That is why this specific hour matters. It cuts through confusion. It demands decision. You are not just opening a message before 11:57 p.m. You are closing an old pattern of hesitation. You are declaring that when God calls, you answer. You are signaling to heaven that you value divine timing more than comfort. And something powerful happens when heaven sees that posture. Acceleration begins. Not chaos, not rush, but acceleration. The kind where connections form quickly. The kind where answers arrive unexpectedly. The kind where clarity replaces months of uncertainty in a single moment. But there is something else you must prepare for. When breakthrough approaches, it often feels quiet before it feels loud. Do not mistake silence for absence. Just because you do not see immediate fireworks does not mean nothing shifted. Sometimes the most significant movements happen invisibly at first. Tonight is about alignment in the unseen realm. Earlier, we spoke about exposure in your environment. That revelation is not separate from your breakthrough. It is directly connected. Hidden resistance slows acceleration. When truth surfaces, speed increases, and God is removing subtle barriers you did not even recognize. You may soon notice subtle changes in how certain people behave around you. Conversations may feel different. Energy may shift. Pay attention but remain calm. This is not conflict. This is clarity. Your responsibility is not to confront aggressively. It is to stay aligned spiritually. When you are aligned, truth protects you without effort. And hear this clearly. Your breakthrough is not fragile. It is powerful. But power requires stewardship. That is why this message came before the manifestation. Reverend protects Grimoire. Many people lose blessings not because God did not give them, but because they were not ready to sustain them. You are being trained to sustain what is coming. Till before 11:57 p.m., speak words of readiness. Say aloud that you are prepared for increase. Say that your house is aligned with peace. Say that your circle is being purified. Say that your timing is restored. Words carry weight. Declarations shift atmosphere. You are not small in this moment. You are influential. Your decision tonight echoes into days you have not yet seen. And if doubt tries to whisper, remind yourself of this. You would not feel this urgency if nothing significant was attached to it. Heaven does not interrupt casually. Divine alerts come with divine consequence. You are being trusted with timing. The question is not whether breakthrough exists. It does. The question is whether you will meet it halfway. The clock is still moving. The threshold is still open. And you still have authority to respond. Step into this moment with confidence. Not pressure. Confidence. Because God would not call you urgently if He had not already prepared the blessing. You are closer than you think. Anointed listener, now we arrive at a layer that many people overlook when urgency comes. They focus on the promise, but they ignore the posture, and posture determines possession. You have been hearing about breakthrough, exposure, timing, and alignment. But none of those things can settle into your life if your posture remains casual. This is the hour where seriousness replaces indifference. There is a difference between wanting something and preparing for it. Wanting is emotional. Preparation is intention. And heaven responds to intention. Right now, your spirit is being examined for consistency. Not perfection, but consistency. Will you respond tonight and forget tomorrow? Or will this be the moment where your spiritual discipline deepens? Because let me tell you something clearly. Breakthrough is not just a single event. It is a doorway into responsibility. The door opens quickly, but sustaining what is on the other side requires maturity. God is not just bringing you into increase. He is bringing you into stewardship. And stewardship requires awareness. This is why the urgency feels layered. It is not just about opening something before 11:57 p.m. It is about shifting your entire rhythm. It is about refusing to treat divine moments as casual notifications. It is about saying, when heaven speaks, I respond with honor. There have been times when you felt spiritually strong, and there have been times when you felt distant. That fluctuation is what is being stabilized now. The urgency is aligning your emotions with your obedience. And listen carefully. The enemy fears disciplined believers more than emotional believers. Emotional believers move when they feel inspired. Disciplined believers move when they are instructed. Tonight, you are being invited into discipline. Before the clock resets, kneel if you can. Sit quietly if you must. But create a posture that reflects seriousness. This is not ritual. This is intentional alignment. When your body slows down, your spirit becomes sharper. You may begin to sense peace entering your atmosphere. You may feel clarity replacing confusion. That is because when you intentionally pause for God, He intentionally responds. Now let me speak to something important. If this message is resonating deeply with you, do not keep that confirmation silent. When you like this video, you are pushing this urgency into the timelines of people who are drifting spiritually. When you share it, you become a bridge for someone else's breakthrough. When you comment your agreement, you are declaring publicly that you choose alignment. And when you subscribe and join this community, you are committing to growth instead of distraction. Stand boldly in this movement. Help this message reach homes that are seconds away from missing their turning point. Become part of something that carries spiritual weight. Because this is bigger than a single moment. This is about collective awakening. Now return your focus to what is unfolding. There is a refinement happening inside you. You are beginning to see how small delays have had larger consequences in the past. Not as condemnation, but as clarity. Awareness is a gift. And here is the powerful truth. God is not angry about your past hesitation. He is inviting you into a new pattern. Night can become a dividing line between old habits and new authority. The exposure that was mentioned earlier will make more sense soon. As your posture shifts, your discernment sharpens. You will notice things you once ignored. You will feel confidence where you once felt uncertainty. Breakthrough and discernment grow together. But let me warn you gently. When clarity increases, comfort decreases. You may have to distance yourself from certain conversations. You may have to limit certain influences. You may have to guard your atmosphere more intentionally. That is not isolation. That is preparation. Because what is coming into your life cannot thrive in chaos. It requires stability. It requires maturity. It requires someone who values timing. You are being shaped into that person right now. The clock continues moving, but instead of fear, let determination rise. Instead of anxiety, let focus increase. You are not racing against time. You are partnering with it. And what unfolds next will show you why this moment is connected not just to a single breakthrough, but to a season of sustained elevation. Stay attentive, because the depth of this revelation is about to expand even further. Set apart one. What you are stepping into now is no longer just about a single night or a single deadline. It is about a transfer. A spiritual transfer that has your name attached to it. But only if you stand in position. There are moments in the spirit realm where assignments shift hands. Not because God is unstable, but because readiness determines who carries what. You have prayed for expansion. You have asked for visibility. You have desired increase. But increase always comes with weight. And heaven does not place weight on unsteady ground. The urgency surrounding 11:57 p.m. was the wake-up call. The posture you adjusted was the preparation. Now comes the understanding. Something has been held in reserve with your name on it. An opportunity. A vinayana. Endure. It has not disappeared, but it hath been waiting for confirmation of your readiness. Confirmation is not words. It is action. When you responded with prayer instead of procrastination, you signaled maturity. When you chose focus over distraction, you demonstrated growth. And growth qualifies you for transfer. But let me take you deeper. There is someone in your wider circle who has been eyeing the same elevation. Not maliciously, but ambitiously. They are also praying. They are also positioning themselves. And heaven observes both posture and timing. This is why ignoring divine nudges is costly. Not because God is competing children against each other, but because assignments move where they can be stewarded immediately. You are not in competition. You are in preparation. And preparation always feels intense before promotion. You may notice heightened awareness in the coming days. Increased sensitivity. Clear discernment about who carries peace and who carries pressure. This is not imagination. It is sharpening. Remember the meridian of exposure. When transfers happen, hidden motives surface. Not to create chaos, but to clarify alignment. If someone has been smiling while subtly resisting your growth, that resistance will begin to reveal itself. Not dramatically, subtly. Through inconsistencies, through slips of honesty, of unexpected distance. Do not react emotionally. Observe calmly. Because exposure is protection. There is a reason this message came before midnight. Midnight symbolizes transition. But the minutes before midnight symbolize decision. You decided not to sleep through the warning. You decided not to scroll past urgency. And that decision carries weight in the unseen realm. Now something else must shift within you. Release fear of losing. When people hear that breakthrough can go to someone else, fear rises. But fear is not the goal. Awareness is. If you remain aligned, what is meant for you will not bypass you. The warning was never meant to make you anxious. It was meant to make you intentional. Intentional people do not lose their porion. Careless people do. So breathe. Center yourself. Recognize that you are not behind. You are being refined. And here is something powerful. Sometimes God creates urgency not because He is late, but because He wants to reveal who you are becoming. Urgency exposes character. It shows whether you panic or pray, whether you freeze or focus, whether you complain or commit. You chose commitment. A choice echoes. In the days ahead, pay attention to invitations that seem sudden, conversations that feel divinely timed, ideas that return with clarity. Do not dismiss them. The transfer does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it arrives disguised as a simple opportunity that requires immediate yes. Be ready to say yes. Be ready to move when peace confirms it. And most importantly, guard your house. Not just physically, but spiritually. Maintain the atmosphere you created. Do not let distraction creep back in once urgency fades. Consistency protects promotion. You have crossed a line tonight. A line between casual belief and intentional faith. And something tells me you feel it. There is still more to uncover. The final layers will reveal why this warning carried such intensity and what you must do next to secure what has been positioned for you. Remain steady. The transition is not ending. It is unfolding. Steadfast heart. What is unfolding now is the sealing of everything you have just aligned yourself with. You have moved through urgency. You have adjusted your posture. You have embraced awareness. Now heaven responds with confirmation. There is a divine principle that activates when obedience meets timing. It is called sealing. When something is sealed in the spirit, it is protected from interference. It is guarded from delay. It is preserved from reassignment. And tonight, because you responded instead of ignoring, a seal is forming over your breakthrough. This is why the intensity has not faded. It has deepened. You may feel a strange calm right now. Not the calm of passivity, but the calm of assurance. That is the evidence of sealing. When you act in alignment, peace replaces pressure. Clarity replaces confusion. Strength replaces hesitation. But sealing does not mean inactivity. It means stewardship continues. There are 3 things you must remain conscious of in the coming days. First, to protect your focus. The moment after breakthrough alignment is when distractions attempt to re-enter quietly. You may suddenly feel tempted to slip back into old habits. Do not. Consistency confirms sealing. Second, guard your words. What you speak after alignment either strengthens or weakens what was secured. Avoid negative declarations about your progress. Avoid joking about losing what you prayed for. Words shape atmosphere. Third, observe the exposure that begins to unfold. The woman whose intentions were not aligned may reveal herself through subtle actions. She may distance herself unexpectedly. She may say something that exposes insecurity or hidden competition. Do not confront in anger. Let truth reveal itself fully. Silence often allows exposure to complete its work. Because sealing also reveals separation. What cannot coexist with your next level will drift away. Do not chase it. Do not repair what God is removing. When something exits naturally after clarity, let it go with grace. And now let me speak directly to your spirit. The fact that you remain through this entire unfolding means something significant. Many people would have dismissed this warning at the beginning. Many would have scrolled past urgency, but you stayed. That persistence itself is evidence of readiness, and readiness is rewarded. You are about to notice acceleration in areas that previously felt stagnant. Not all at once, but steadily. Yours that were quiet will begin to stir. Communication that felt blocked will open. Ideas that seemed confusing will become structured. This is not coincidence. It is consequence. A consequence of obedience. And here is something even deeper. When you align with urgency, you step into partnership with divine timing. You are no longer waiting passively for life to change. You are participating in the shift. That participation matters. Type "I receive my sealed breakthrough" in the comments if you feel this confirmation settling over your spirit. Blessing code 8080 is now activated over your house, your timing, and your next chapter. And as the sealing completes itself in your life, understand that what you support multiplies. When you release super thanks, when you step into membership, when you sow through the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are planting seed into fields that are standing at their own 11:57 p.m. moment. The word declares that when you sow into fertile ground, your harvest rises like rivers that cannot be contained. God speaks over you that those who pour oil into His work will never lack fresh oil in their own house. This is not a casual act. It is prophetic participation. When you give, you are saying, "Let more homes be sealed. Let more destinies awaken." And heaven responds to that declaration. May every seed you release return with acceleration, protection, and clarity. Step forward boldly. Activate your support. Become a carrier of this urgency to souls who need it now. What comes next will reveal the final layer of this transition and how to sustain what has just been secured. Stay spiritually alert, because the story is not ending. It is stabilizing. Faithful guardian, now that the seal has been placed over your breakthrough, the next phase is preservation. Many people know how to receive a blessing, but few know how to preserve it. What you have aligned with must now be protected with wisdom. Here is a quiet period that follows sealing. It is not dramatic. It is not loud. It feels almost normal. And this is where many lose momentum. They assume the intensity has passed, so they relax their awareness. But preservation requires steady vigilance. You must understand that when heaven seals something, it does not remove your responsibility. It strengthens it. The peace you feel is not permission to drift. It is confirmation to stay anchored. In the coming days, subtle tests may arise. Small irritations, minor misunderstandings, unexpected distractions. These are not attacks meant to destroy you. They are checks meant to observe your stability. Will you react emotionally, or will you remain grounded? Will you speak impulsively, or will you choose wisdom? Your breakthrough is not fragile, but your reactions can neither accelerate it or complicate it. There may also be opportunities that appear suddenly, invitations that feel slightly outside your comfort zone, conversations that require quick decisions. This is part of the transfer you stepped into. Do not hesitate unnecessarily. If peace confirms it, move forward confidently. But alongside opportunity, clarity will continue to unfold regarding relationships. The exposure that began forming will now become more obvious. You may notice someone withdrawing when you share good news. You may sense discomfort from someone who once appeared supportive. Do not take it personally. Elevation exposes insecurity in others. Your responsibility is not to shrink in order to keep others comfortable. It is to remain humble without reducing yourself. There is a difference between humility and self-sabotage. Humility honors God. Self-sabotage fears people. Choose humility. Speak kindly. Act wisely. But do not downplay what God is doing in your life. Another important layer of preservation is gratitude. Gratitude stabilizes increase. When you consistently acknowledge what God has done, you anchor the blessing deeper into your life. Do not wait for massive results to be thankful. Be grateful for the subtle shifts, the small confirmations, the quiet peace. Gratitude builds spiritual resilience. You may also feel moments of reflection about your past delays, memories of times when you missed opportunities. Do not allow regret to surface. That reflection is not meant to shame you. It is meant to remind you how far you have come. You responded this time. That matters. Now let us address something critical. There will be voices that attempt to minimize what you experienced. They may call it coincidence. They may call it emotional timing. They may say you are reading too much into things. Smile politely, but guard your conviction. Not everyone will understand divine urgency. Some people only believe in what they can measure. But you have learned that the unseen realm moves before the visible world shifts. Protect that understanding. Do not argue to prove it. Live in a way that demonstrates it. And as you move forward, keep your house spiritually aligned. Maintain the atmosphere you created. Continue speaking peace. Continue declaring readiness. Continue walking in discipline. The sealing has taken place, but sustainability depends on rhythm. Develop a rhythm of prayer, a rhythm of reflection, a rhythm of intentional focus. When rhythm becomes consistent, breakthrough becomes stable. There is also something forming ahead that you cannot fully see yet. A larger opportunity, a broader platform, a deeper influence. It is not arriving tomorrow, but it is approaching steadily. And your preservation now determines your capacity then. You are no longer in a casual season. You are in a stewardship season. And stewardship prepares you for multiplication. Stay alert. Stay humble. Stay grateful. Because what began as an urgent warning is transforming into a sustained elevation. The next revelation will clarify how to anchor the season permanently and prevent future delays from repeating old patterns. Remain attentive, because the final layers are approaching with clarity and strength. Awakened one, what you are stepping into now is anchoring. Sealing has taken place. Preservation has begun. But anchoring ensures that what was secured does not drift when life becomes busy again. There is a pattern that repeats in many lives. A person experiences a powerful spiritual moment. They feel clarity. They feel urgency. They feel alignment. And then routine slowly pulls them back into distraction. The fire cools. The discipline fades. The urgency becomes a memory instead of a momentum. That will not be your story. Anchoring means building structure around what you received. It means creating habits that reinforce the shift you experienced before 11:57 p.m. It means deciding that breakthrough is not just an event you celebrate, but a standard you maintain. Ask yourself honestly, what changed inside you during this unfolding? Was it your awareness of time? Was it your sensitivity to spiritual nudges? Was it your courage to act quickly instead of postponing? Identify that change and protect it fiercely. Because anchoring requires repetition. If you prayed intentionally that night, continue praying intentionally. If you guarded your words, keep guarding them. If you limited distractions, keep limiting them. Do not allow consistency to fade once the emotional intensity settles. And here is something important to recognize. When your life begins to show evidence of alignment, attention will increase. People will notice subtle changes. Some will be inspired. Others may feel unsettled. Not because you did anything wrong, but because growth highlights contrast. Remain steady. You do not need to explain every shift to everyone. Silence carries power. Let your fruit speak for you. At the same time, be mindful of pride. When breakthrough stabilizes, pride tries to whisper that you achieved it alone. Do not entertain that thought. You responded to urgency, yes, but heaven initiated the call. Gratitude must remain your foundation. Now hear this carefully. If this message has walked you step by step from urgency to anchoring, do not let it remain confined to you. Press like so this word continues to move through unseen algorithms into the homes of those who are one scroll away from missing their moment. Share it with someone who hath been hesitating in life. Comment your agreement boldly so your declaration becomes public alignment. Subscribe if you have not already, and stand with this channel consistently. Join this movement intentionally. Help carry this message forward with strength, because what helped you awaken can awaken thousands more. And before you move on, remember this. The enemy does not mind occasional passion. He fears sustained discipline. Discipline is what breaks cycles permanently. Discipline is what prevents future delays. Discipline is what transforms urgency into legacy. You are being built into someone who no longer waits for crisis to pray. Someone who no longer waits for loss to value time. Someone who no longer hesitates when clarity arrives. The transformation is priceless, but anchoring also requires boundaries. If certain conversations drain your focus, reduce them. If certain environments disrupt your peace, limit exposure. If certain influences reintroduce doubt, create distance. This is not isolation. It is intentional design. Your life is being structured for elevation, and elevation demands clarity. In the coming weeks, you may feel prompted to organize areas of your life that have been scattered. Finances, schedules, commitments, relationships. Do not ignore that urge. Order strengthens anchoring. When your external world reflects internal clarity, momentum increases. The urgency you felt earlier was the spark. Anchoring is the foundation. Without foundation, sparks fade. But with foundation, sparks become sustained fire. You have come too far to return to casual living. You have tasted what responsiveness feels like. You have seen how quickly alignment can shift atmosphere. You have experienced the difference between delay and decision. Now build on it. The final revelation ahead will close this entire cycle with clarity, authority, and blessing. Remain focused, because what completes this message will not just confirm what happened. It will commission you into what comes next. Enduring soul, you are now standing at the edge of completion. What began as an urgent warning is transforming into a commissioning. You were alerted. You responded. You aligned. You sealed. You preserved. You anchored. And now, you are being entrusted. There is a difference between receiving a breakthrough and becoming a carrier of breakthrough. At first, this message was about you not missing your moment. Now it is about you becoming the kind of person who helps others recognize theirs. Because once you understand how divine timing works, you cannot return to spiritual carelessness. Think about who you were before this unfolded. There were moments of hesitation, moments of delay, moments where you sensed something but ignored it. Now your awareness has sharpened. You recognize urgency. You respect timing. You respond with intention. That growth is not small, and growth always leads to responsibility. In the days ahead, someone close to you will stand at their own version of 11:57 p.m. It may not look identical. It may not involve the same details, but it will carry urgency. They may feel confused. They may hesitate. And because you have walked through this process, you will recognize the signs. Do not remain silent when that happens. Share wisdom gently. Speak from experience, not superiority. Let your testimony of responsiveness guide them. You are not just protecting your own breakthrough anymore. You are multiplying awareness. This is how elevation becomes legacy. But before that expansion fully unfolds, there is one final refinement. It is subtle but powerful. It is the refinement of identity. Do not allow this breakthrough to become your identity. Your identity is not the opportunity, the exposure, or the shift. Your identity is obedience. Your identity is alignment. Your identity is being someone who answers when called. If you ever begin to measure your worth by outcomes alone, insecurity will creep in. But if you measure your worth by faithfulness, stability remains. You were faithful in urgency. That is what matters. Now let me prepare you for something realistic. There may come a quiet moment where you wonder, did anything really change? That thought does not mean nothing shifted. It means your mind is adjusting to a new level of normal. Breakthrough does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it settles quietly and begins working beneath the surface. Trust the process. Remember the exposure that was for gold. By now, signs of it may already be visible. Perhaps through distance. Perhaps through conversation. Perhaps through clarity you cannot unsee. Do not attempt to restore what God is separating. Separation is not punishment. It is protection. Release gracefully. And if anyone questions your change, let them. You are not obligated to remain the version of yourself that was comfortable for others. You responded to heaven. That response reshaped you. As this entire cycle concludes, look back at the journey. Urgency awakened you. Timing sharpened you. Exposure protected you. Sealing confirmed you. Preservation stabilized you. Anchoring structured you. Now commissioning expands you. You are no longer the person who scrolls past divine nudges. You are the person who pauses. And that pause is powerful. There is strength in your stillness now. Confidence in your decisions. Clarity in your boundaries. These are signs of internal elevation. Carry them forward. The final words that follow will not introduce something new. It will seal everything permanently with blessing and instruction. Prepare your heart, because what closes this message will activate your next season fully and publicly. Remain attentive for just a little longer. Completion is near, and it carries authority. Chosen and awakened one. This is the completion of what heaven began when urgency first knocked on your spirit. What started as a warning has now become a covenant. What began as a deadline has now become a destiny marker. You did not ignore the call. You did not scroll past the stirring. You did not silence the whisper. And because you responded, something permanent has shifted in you. Understand this clearly. The real breakthrough was never just the opportunity, the exposure, or the acceleration. The real breakthrough was transformation. You are no longer the person who delays obedience. You are no longer the person who treats divine nudges casually. You are no longer the person who waits for crisis before responding. You have stepped into alignment as a lifestyle. That is the greatest reward. The 11:57 p.m. moment symbolized decision. Midnight symbolized transition. And now you are standing in a new day spiritually. You crossed over carrying awareness instead of regret. You entered this new season with readiness instead of hesitation. This is what many people miss. They pray for change, but they resist the urgency that creates it. You embraced urgency, and because of that, you matured. And now let me speak one final truth over you. Breakthrough will continue to visit your life, but it will no longer need to shout. You have trained your spirit to recognize whispers. That sensitivity is a gift. Yardi, do not return to careless patterns. Do not downplay divine impressions. Do not allow routine to dull your discernment. The strength you build here must become your standard. The exposure that occurred was protection. The urgency that stirred you was love. The sealing that followed was confirmation. And the anchoring you built is foundation. From this point forward, you walk differently. When something feels time-sensitive spiritually, you will act. When peace confirms movement, you will step forward. When clarity exposes misalignment, you will release it calmly. You are not reacting to fear anymore. You are responding to wisdom. And here is the final assurance. What is meant for you will not pass you when you remain aligned. The warning about breakthrough going to someone else was not meant to create insecurity. It was meant to awaken responsibility. And you answered that responsibility. Heaven has taken note. There are doors that will open in this next season that feel almost effortless compared to past struggles. There will be confirmations that remind you of this very moment. And when they happen, remember this night. Remember this decision. Remember this shift. You chose alignment over delay. Now walk forward in confidence. Type "I walk in divine timing" in the comments if you are sealing this transformation publicly. Blessing code 1157 is now permanently activated over your life, your house, and your future. And as this journey closes, hear this as a continuation of the same urgency that awakened you. When you release super thanks, step into membership, or sow through the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are sounding a trumpet before midnight for souls who are about to miss their hour. Scripture declares that when you sow seed into good soil, it returns 30, 60, and 100-fold. And God is speaking that promise directly over you now. This is your first-person moment of action. I am stepping forward. I am helping awaken another house. I am choosing to fuel the light before darkness settles. Your giving becomes oil in the lamp, fire on the altar, manna in the wilderness for someone desperate for clarity. Do not delay this obedience. Act while the stirring is fresh. As you sow, may open heavens respond. May acceleration chase you. May protection surround your dwelling. Stand now. Give boldly. Activate your support and become a carrier of divine timing to the world.